Well, my. It's Monday morning, December the 2nd, 2024. December. How did it get to be December so quick? I am totally unprepared for it to be December. I'm shutting down the shop long around December 10 or 11 until basically after the new year. So whatever's in the shop now will probably still be in the shop now, then, which will be this guy probably, and this guy, unless magic happens in the next few days. So I'm not going to take in any long-term projects. Fred will sit here because I'm not going to get the pistons and all that work done before then. So I don't believe that's just not going to happen. So anyway, I'm shutting down. I will post a few videos of where I'm going. I'm not going to give you a hint at this point in time. It might be a surprise, and I'll post videos if possible. In the meantime, back at the ranch, the bike has new petcocks and gas flow to the carburetors. The carburetors are not leaking, which is a wonderful thing. I set the points gap yesterday, and I set the points static timing yesterday, so theoretically, ignition and fuel are prepared for the bike, and it should possibly maybe even start. I'll go over there and stroke on it a few times and find out. If I get a few pops in the shop here, I'll open the garage door and try for a good first start. I'm having a friend come down here this afternoon. He's a great fabricator, and he's going to look at the bike and see if he can fabricate a battery box for up here underneath this rear tail section, which is actually empty all the way up. And we'll try to come up with something that he can bolt to this area. I will relocate all the electronics. Once we get a battery support in there, so I can install an Alton starter, and at the same time take all this electrical stuff out of here and put in a electronic ignition system to get rid of these points. So right now I'm going to try to start it, and if successful, we'll put it aside until it goes to my good buddy's shop for fabricating the battery box. And fabricating the battery box is a requirement before I can do anything more exotic like ignition or starter. That's where we are. We'll see what happens today. All right, we're going to try, matter of fact, we've already tried, and we're just going to show you an experiment. The Norton has a resistor inline with the voltage going to the spark coils to cut it from 12 to 6 volts. I don't know why, but it seemed like a good idea by somebody at some point in time. So what I did is I got under here and I jumpered that resistor pack, or that resistor. And you can see the green wires are just going around the resistor. And that gives us a theoretical full 12 volts going to the coil. Now when we kicked it over, we got a much better spark. And matter of fact, I'm going to let Richard stand on the other side and do a close-up video of this spark over here while I kick that bike over there. Come on over here, Richard. We'll zoom in on this and see if we can actually catch it.
Yeah, okay.
All right. You, if you want to hold this up here and make life easier.
No, it's okay. I can see it.
Yeah,
I can see it.
Just put your put your tongue right
So
there.
it doesn't dance around. Go ahead. All right.
Actually, it's going to dance around no matter if you hold it on the head. Lift it up, maybe it'll be steadier.
Yep.
So you can see
Much. We're moving around on the bike, but yeah, you can even hear it, right?
Okay, so now I'm going to try running it with it modified like this. Go ahead and stop that.
Yeah.
All right, it's going on 3 o'clock. Okay. Since we last spoke, I fabricated some new spark plug wires because the other ones were really short, really crisp, and didn't click onto this plug sharply. So that's nicely done. So we've got new spark plug wires. I added a connector back here that goes straight to my shock battery, which puts 12 volts directly into the spark coil, bypassing everything else. So we've now got a solid 12 volts going to the spark coil here, which then powers the other one also. And I'm going to kick on it a few times to see if it'll go with the battery hooked up. And if it does, that's wonderful. If it doesn't, then I'll go back to checking timing. I was going to do that first, but I decided to do that second. So that's where we are. I'm going to put the lift down and I'm going to kick on the bike for half a dozen times and we'll see what happens. All right, with the ignition, with the battery hooked up to the bike, I've got headlight, I've got spark, I've got tail light. I expect I even have brake light. Let's hold this here and do this. Yeah, I got tail light, brake light. I've got spark that I can stand up here and see. When I kick it over, I'll try to let you see. There's the spark plug hanging up there in the wind. That's not gonna work. Let's, I'll be back. Well, I made new spark plug wires. The old plug wires just didn't clamp down tightly. I got up underneath and looked at the spark coils, and the wires going to the spark coils were just loose as a goose. They actually almost fell off in my hands. They were so loose. So I took them off and crimped them down and tightened them up, put them back on. I've got the battery hooked to the bike. You notice it has a tail light on. And if I walk up here, it has the headlight on. Okay. Now that's not necessarily a good thing because without the battery, they wouldn't be on, but they would be in the circuit for starting. And it needs a lights on off switch to stop taking the drain from the ignition while trying to kickstart this thing. In the meantime, the battery's on, and I'm gonna go over there and stroke on it a few times and see if I can get it to start with the battery and all the new the wiring fixes, corrections, whatever you want to call it. I'll be right back. All right, so the ignition is on, the lights are on, the battery's on. We're running on a battery. I'm going to go over there and get gas on. Gas is on. Throttle loose enough. Pretty good snap. Let's stroke on it a couple times. Choke is on at this point in time. Let's see what happens. How many times will this knee hold up? Yeah, good kickback. Take the choke off. Choke is off. And choke is off. Let's try to start it again and see if I can see oil flowing. That would be a nice thing. Let's see if it'll start again. Or if it's just teasing me. Okay. Okay, no choke this time. Wants to. Yes, it will. Okay, so with the battery turned off, disconnected, I'm going to walk away, come back and try to start the bike. And then tomorrow morning will be a really cold start. We'll do that. But right now, I'm going to put this back in the tripod. Disconnect the battery. Actually, it's turned off now, but I'll disconnect it totally for purposes of the test. And let's see if I can get it to kickstart without having the battery attached. I think I will. I think it's going to work just fine, personally. Okay. Battery is completely disconnected. Put it up here. There you go. Let's see if it'll start again. Petcocks are still on. Notice with no battery, you have no lights. Let's kickstart it and see what happens. many as my knee's gonna take. Let's hook the battery back up. What the heck? And see if it'll start on battery. Let's just plug this in. There. Battery's on, taillight's on. Headlights on. Let's see if it'll run. Ow, this is on some. Okay, I didn't start with the battery not connected. Hooked up the battery, started right away. The way the bike is wired is the headlight and taillight are on whenever the bike is running. And if you don't have the battery hooked up, the taillight and headlight are sucking down the juice, making it harder to start. I'm going to look all over the bike and see if there's a hidden switch somewhere that turns the lights on and off. And if there's not, I'm going to install a switch somewhere in a innocuous place so that the lights can be turned off when you're trying to start the bike with no battery, and it should make it easier to start. That's the plan for right now. Right now we have a runner. It sounds really, really good. At this point in time, I'm gonna see if I can do the light switch tomorrow morning, and then ask the client if he wants to come get the bike and ride it some before making the decision whether or not to put the Alton starter on it. It also needs new tires. It also needs the fork seals to be replaced. Things like that are beyond the scope of get it running. It's running. So we'll see what happens tomorrow morning with a cold start with the battery and a cold start without the battery, and then decide what the client wants. So that's where we are. Gonna call it good for the day because once again it's 4 o'clock and I'm tired.